Oh hey, it's Wes, and we're out of the studio, back at the church again, also known as the production environment. Today to talk about the Hollyland Mars 400S Pro. A lot of letters there. When Hollyland wanted to send me this, actually they've been trying to send me stuff for a while now, and up until now I've been like, you know what, I don't have much of a reason personally to be using this. I don't have a lot of experience with that kind of stuff. Boy, how times have changed. And on a weekly basis, we're producing and streaming and sharing video from the church, and things are very different now. There are a few use cases that we have where this can come in handy. So I don't want to make the same video everyone else makes. I mean, you know what this thing is for. It's a wireless transmitter for HD video. The usual use case is you're in a production environment or you're using a gimbal and you want to take your video off the gimbal so that you can see it more easily on a big screen. You can't hang a big screen on the gimbal, or share it just like 20 feet away to the customer or the director so that they can okay the video and keep an eye on things. Yes. However, everyone's already doing that. You got gimbal footage and got people going on their boosted boards and one wheels, and I don't want to make that same video because, again, you've seen that before. There's no surprises here. What we want to do here is see what we can do in this particular production environment that really tests the limitations of this sort of a system. Let's quickly go over what we're looking at here. This is the latest and greatest. It's not considered their professional line. It is still considered a part of their consumer line, but this is some solid stuff for consumer tech. So this is almost entirely metal. This particular unit has actually been running for over an hour right now, just straight. We just recorded the sermon, recorded some music. Actually, I think it's been about an hour and a half that this has been on. And this particular one, the receiver, is running on this little F-series battery, whereas the transmitter is running on a big 970. This one is getting a little low, so take that as you will. I just assumed that the transmitter would be using more power than the receiver, which it seems to be the case, but that giant transmitter battery is still clocking in at 8 volts, whereas we're sitting pretty at 7 volts here. I don't know when this is going to clock out. The battery life is honestly way better than I expected because this gets super hot when you use it and the fans run as they will. And so I thought that this would drain this little battery really fast because external monitors tend to do that, but this is actually my second week of using this for over an hour, and that tiny battery is still doing fine. So battery life is actually really impressive. And again, build quality is great. It comes with one extra antenna in case you snap one of these puppies off. The antennas are removable though. If we turn around to the back here, we're going to see some more interesting stuff. You can power this via USB-C. You have an on-off switch, full-size HDMI out. You got an SDI connector, which is fantastic. And you have an external power jack. There's one on each side. It only comes with one power adapter though, so if you're looking to externally power that, it is a pretty standard jack though, and it tells you right there 6 to 16 volt DC. That's a great range actually, so it's not super picky. It works fine on external power. You can choose your own wireless channels, but let's get into what we're doing here. So with current lockdown, coronavirus rules, I don't want to be right next to the person who is speaking at the church. And so I generally hunker down on back at the sound booth. Now at this church, we have a lot of our cameras wired up with super long HDMI cables, and that's what I did originally because I thought that it was the most reliable thing to do. So the first test we want to do is see if we could replace one of our 50 to 100 foot HDMI cables with one of these wireless transmitters. And honestly, in this particular situation where the live stream has to sync up just right, we need to know what the lag is. So let's have a look at the lag here. Okay, the lag is very short, but it's not perfect. And honestly, it wouldn't line up right. So if you needed to do the 2 camera angles as we do for our services, you're going to want to have the exact same wireless transmitters so that you have the same lag on both sides. And then you're going to have to integrate that into your live stream to make sure that the sound lines up the video. So that's not perfect. HDMI cables, long HDMI cables are better for that. Another situation where I really wanted to try this in the past, but I honestly did not think that the wireless signal would be strong enough, is we have a secondary location in here because we can only have so many people in this space, not just because the size of the space, but also because of the quarantine rules. So even when we're in phase yellow, so we have green, yellow, orange, red, in phase yellow, which is the best quarantine phase, we can only have 50 people in this space. And so we have another space over there where we send our video. Currently, we're sending it via an HDMI to HDBaseT, or video over Ethernet. And that kind of circles through the whole building, and that was a tremendous amount of work to run that cable over there. And I thought that sticking one of these in would be super unreliable and probably wouldn't even get through the two walls. Let's take a walk. Boy, was I wrong. So the video strength is still fantastic by the time we get out to that gathering hall over there for a second screen. Let's keep going and see how far we can get. So down the hall here, I still have a good signal. Opposite corner of the building, this is a huge building. We're going through three walls right now, and the signal's still fine. That's insane. Let's go up the stairs here, go to another floor, so through a bunch of walls and a floor. And we only have one bar, but the signal is fine. So I could be monitoring the service essentially in another building. I don't know why these transmitters are as powerful as they are, but there you have it. That's incredible. So you're probably not going to have a lot of interference problems because these are pumping out the juice. Now you can also monitor this via Wi-Fi. So you can punch into these. You can set a custom password, but honestly, there's no reason to do that. And so you can set your own Wi-Fi password. This is constantly transmitting a Wi-Fi signal. So let's go to another room while that's happening.
Now, what is this sign? Well, let me put it to you this way.
Yeah, so as soon as we pass through just one wall, the Wi-Fi starts to drop off. So if you're going to be using the Wi-Fi setting and streaming it to your phone or tablet, you got to be pretty close to it. But if you're just using the receiver itself, that's crazy. So there you have it. Those are some great applications for this system. And on the receiving end, you could even put an SDI cable on that and get another ridiculous amount of space, because an SDI cable is capable of transmitting video really far on its own, further than HDMI can easily do. So honestly, I am really impressed with this. Not just the battery life, it's very easy to use, and the wireless signal is just solid. Let's talk about some downsides. Transmitter on the camera itself, because this is a pretty well-built, very metallic thing, it's not the lightest transmitter in the world. Very compact, very pretty, very space age and angular, but it is pretty heavy, and so you are going to need a pretty strong gimbal. If you're just using one of the smaller gimbals like a Weebill S or something, you're going to have a little bit of calibration problem with that. I'm not saying you can't get it right. You can, but it's not going to be easy. So this is more meant for a larger, beefier gimbal. You're going to have to turn up the motors on a Weebill S to get this to calibrate properly. So there you have it. In the age of social distancing, if you need to get your video just a little bit further, this one, it's not the cheapest solution in the world, price right there, but it definitely gets the job done. And this thing is as tough as nails. So honestly, Hollyland, I am impressed. I thought that this would be a lot flakier than it is, sorry, but this is a solid signal and a solid product. So if you have any questions about this, let me know down in the comments. If you want to order one of these, feel free to use one of my affiliate links down in the comments. Help support my channel, feed my fat cats, and my family. So until next time, go take some video wherever you want.